Meanwhile, the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has set up committees to meet with aggrieved presidential candidates to start reconciliation process. Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, and a member of the committees disclosed this through his chief press secretary, Richard Olatunde, in a statement on Wednesday. He said a committee of elders of the All Progressives Congress would soon begin to meet with co-contestants of the president-elect in a bid to move the country forward. He stressed that every aggrieved person will be met for reconciliation. Bola Tinubu polled a total of 8,794,726 votes to emerge victorious in February 25th election. Let's talk about issues that on the outcome of the presidential and National Assembly elections. Joining me on the news is the Chief Executive Officer, Connected Development, Hamzat Lawal. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC News this hour. A lot of people have been talking about, reacting to the outcome of the just concluded elections on February the 25th. Some are saying, different issues. But then what were the issues for you in these just concluded elections? The issues you'd like INEC to work on as the March the 11th elections approach?
Well, thank you for having me. We went into this election with high expectation because INEC chairman had gave assurance that one, they would deploy beavers and that results would be uploaded in real time into the IREC. And these are the major issues. And when you also look at the time that they deployed ad hoc staff with materials, there were polling units that even up to 3 p.m., nobody showed up. The chairman had also promised that the next day election would be conducted, which is on a Sunday. Again, they came, in some cases they came late, in some other cases they didn't show up. So again, and this is what would have informed the transparency and accountability of the process. Keeping in mind that INEC got over 305 billion naira for this election. So there was high expectations. There was a guideline that should have informed the process. And of course, the 2022 Electoral Act that was signed by Mr. President.
What would you say are the market improvements, looking at the elections that were conducted, back in the day? I'll talk about the 2011 elections, talk about the 2019 elections, and, in comparison to these elections, what would you say is something that Nigerians have actually improved upon?
Well, we had positive events. Because for us, we deployed 20,000 observers on the User B platform. And we saw that that the fact that technology was deployed, so there were no overvoting. Everybody was accredited with beavers, and this also curbed, electoral malpractices. So we saw the fact that security personnel were adequately mobilized, at least 2 security personnel per polling unit, and then there were perimeter security people that were armed, that were providing backup to safeguard the lives and property of people. So when you look at elections from 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, and this election, we've seen improvement. But again, we've now learned lessons on the gap that have been witnessed. And as we go into the March 11 elections, we'll take some of these lessons. And I hope INEC can also rise to the occasion to repeat back public trust. And as we get a new National Assembly, we can then approach them to amend the Electoral Act and our Constitution.
More than 87 million people actually got their PVCs registered for, got their PVCs. But then we had about some little over 25 million people came out to vote. Would you say that there is still some level of voter apathy, or what do you think could have been responsible for that?
Again, if you look at the time that materials and INEC officials came out, from our data, they have the fact that they came out late, disenfranchised, pregnant women, older people, and people living with disability. So we can't even get a holistic data of the number of turnout. Because if you look at the videos and pictures in various polling, you saw millions of people who came out to cast their ballot. But because of the lapses from INEC, particularly the terrible logistics around the elections, we disenfranchised a lot of people. And of course, again, we saw that we've deployed technology. So it is now that we're actually capturing in real time and with evidence the numbers of people that have come out. But notwithstanding, we need to invest more in educating voters and enlightening them to come out to vote. But again, voters would only come out if they trust the process and the system. And sadly, INEC is losing trust as the day goes by.
Talking about trusting the process, some came with the argument that if we have the like of the incumbent governor of Kano State losing a state, the Atiku Bagudo losing Kebbi State, even the incumbent president losing his own state, Katsina, and then the president-elect also lost Lagos State. Isn't it that, doesn't this speak to the transparency, a level of transparency in this election, and the fact that Nigeria is actually growing from what used to be a nascent democracy?
Oh, yes, because of technology, again, it has improved the process where we don't have people who call themselves strong men to control their stronghold, which is great. But then again, the fact that INEC failed in uploading the results in real time have cast, a lot of speculation about the entire process. Yes, it has improved, and where we see, ruling party losing some of their stronghold, and third forces and opposition party taking over the stronghold, which is great. Hopefully, if we improve on from the lessons we've taken from the National Assembly election and presidential election into the gubernatorial and state assembly election, then maybe this will rebuild back confidence. And as we go into 2027, we'll see millions of people come out to cast their ballot.
This is not to drag you into politics, but then it's a country where we want Nigeria to move forward, and we want everyone to, come back after the elections, you be magnanimous in victory. Just before I brought you on air, the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, was said to have set up a committee to meet with aggrieved presidential candidates to start a reconciliation process. Would you say this is a commendable act?
Oh, yes, it is commendable. And when you look at his speech accepting victory, and his speech after he received his certificate of return, he's not a president-elect to only the ruling party. He's a president-elect to even the opposition, and he'll become a president to everyone. And it's great to actually extend a hand of fellowship and also reconcile with people. And I like the fact that he said he saw all of them as his brother. And now he's putting his words into action. I think it's important that we must understand that Nigeria must come first before anything else. Yes, they must have their differences, and they belong to different political parties. But what is important is peace. And for peace and prosperity to take the center stage, we must put aside our differences, different political beliefs and ideology, and put the country before anything else. We must understand that there's a process and system put in place, and everybody that I agree can, leverage on that system and process to seek redress and seek justice. But what is important is the fact that I'm happy that the president-elect is reaching out, and let's hope that there will be some form of dialogue that would ensue.
Chief Executive Officer, Connected Development, Hamzat Lawal, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.